Now you are watching a device called a Stirling engine. It is one of the simplest type of practical heat engines. I am going to drive this engine on water. We can even run it on ice. All it needs is a temperature difference. In this demo, the bottom plate of the engine is subjected to a high temperature provided by the hot water, and the top plate is subjected to atmospheric temperature. Now let us wait for it to start. Sometimes it needs a little push to get started. It seems the water temperature is not enough. Let us try again. I think now it can sustain its rotation. Yes, since the water is not hot enough, it's a bit slow, but I think it is sufficient for our current purpose. While it works, let me explain some theoretical aspects common to all heat engines. The first and foremost thing is they receive heat from a high temperature source. So in this case, it is a cup of water, so a cup of hot water. Secondly, they convert a part of this heat to work, usually in the form of a rotating shaft, as you can see in this flywheel. Third, they reject the remaining waste heat to a low temperature sink. In this case, it is atmosphere. Finally, they are composed of a working medium which undergo a cyclic process. In this case, we have air as the working medium. Here, the air in the engine heats up and cools down repeatedly, undergoing a cycle or cyclic process to generate work from heat transferred from hot water and rejecting the remaining heat to atmosphere. Now, let me try to explain the working of this engine. A theoretical Stirling cycle consists of 4 processes. One, an isochoric heat addition happens at constant volume. Second, isothermal heat addition that happens at constant temperature. Isochoric heat removal, again at constant volume, and isothermal heat removal. In an actual engine like this, it is difficult to see all these processes separately. However, I will try to show this as far as I can. The engine consists of the cylinder, a piston, a displacer, and a flywheel. So the engine consists of the cylinder, and there is also a cylinder here, and inside that there is a piston. Then there is a displacer, and the flywheel. So this displacer is actually made of an insulating material. So its purpose is to insulate the top plate and bottom plate from the air inside the this cylinder. So we know that let us start from this position. So here the displacer is in the top position, so it insulates the air from the top plate, and at the same time this air inside the cylinder will be exposed to bottom plate, and the bottom plate is receiving heat from this hot water. So the air will get heated up, so that heats up in constant volume. So we have when we draw the PV diagram, initially the air gets heated up in constant volume. So we have process 1 here, So this happens at constant volume, so the pressure will increase. So when the pressure reaches a certain level, this piston start moving in the upward direction. So the piston, when the piston moves in the upward direction, the pressure start decreasing, and the system, this air is doing work on this piston, and thereby rotating this flywheel. So we have a constant at the same time this air is again in contact with the bottom plate. So we have a constant temperature heat addition process. So 2 to 3. When it reaches at this position, when the displacer at the same time, so when the flywheel rotates, it will push the displacer downward direction. So displacer will move to the downward direction. So when the displacer reach the bottom position, let us say, so in this position, when the displacer is in the bottom position, now the air is exposed to the top plate. So the air will be so the heat will be transferred from the air to the top plate. So air will lose its temperature. So there is a constant volume cooling process. So 3 to 4 we have a constant volume cooling process. So when the pressure will start decreasing inside the cylinder. When the pressure decreases to a certain level, again this inertia of the wheel will push the piston in the downward direction. So that causes piston to move in the downward direction. So we have a compression process. So the air will be compressed. So we will have a constant temperature heat rejection process. So this cycle repeats, and the amount of power produced by this engine will be the area within this region. So this is a simple Stirling engine. So you can see that in action. So this process continues. So it will be repeated continuously until this temperature of hot water. Theoretically, it should continue up to this temperature of the hot water becomes equal to that of the atmospheric temperature. But due to internal frictions inside the system, it will stop before that. Thank you.